Marcus Boston. Quick video today, and we are going to discuss contractions and contraction patterns and why they can be helpful when trying to understand the cause of a baby's traumatic brain injury at birth, like HIE. First of all, let's talk about what are contractions. What's an important role of contractions? One of the most important things for contractions is that they work to help the baby come down into the birth canal. They essentially help push the baby down into the birth canal. And doctors and nurses, they have a way of monitoring these contractions during labor and delivery when mom is hooked up to the electronic fetal heart monitor. I've talked about the electronic fetal heart monitor in the past, in videos in the past, and if you've watched some of those videos, you know basically that monitor is not only looking at baby, it's looking at baby's heart rate, it's looking at certain types of patterns, acceleration patterns if they're present, deceleration patterns, variability, those types of things and more. It's looking at on the baby side. On mom's side, it's also tracking mom's contraction patterns. And as mom is moving through labor, and eventually into delivery, those patterns will be tracked. That monitor is looking at not only the duration of the contractions, it's taking a look at the intensity of the contractions. And this is important when we are putting the pieces of the puzzle together. So for example, on the bottom of the electronic fetal heart monitor reading, you're generally at the bottom, that's where you're going to see mom's contraction pattern. And that pattern, you may see it go along, and then it may go up, and then it may come down, and then it may continue to go along, go up, and it's going to come down. And that's in its basic sense. That's what it's looking like, okay? Now, when that mom has that contraction, the baby is reacting to the contraction. And in good instances, what we'll see is when mom's contraction is coming, it's going to go up, it's going to come down. As it's going up, as it's making its way up, baby who's on the top, baby is going to come down. The baby's readings are going to come down. They're going to meet the mom's contraction. As if mom's contraction goes down, baby is going to go up and go back to the baseline of where it was. It's really basic. But what that is showing is that when mom is having her contraction, baby is coming to meet. And then when the contraction is over, then the baby heart rate and all of the baby's things, they go back to what we call the baseline and all of these other things. Where we can have problems, we have a couple of problems, is when mom is having, for example, too many contractions over a specific amount of time. And if mom is having too many contractions, that is a condition called tachycystole. And that can be problematic, not only for mom, because what that's meaning is mom is having, when she's having all these contractions, what's happening? She's not having time to rest, or she's not having time to breathe. She's not having time to get herself together. If mom is having these problems, baby's also having these problems. And so we don't want mom having too many contractions over a specific amount of time, invoking tachycystole and causing potential problems for mom and baby. In addition to that, those contraction patterns, we're also looking at, remember when I said mom's pattern is going up and it's coming down, and in a good situation, where mom's pattern goes up, baby comes down, meets mom, and then when mom goes down, baby comes back because the contraction is over and the baby's back at baseline. What we can have in problematic scenarios is when mom's contraction comes down, it goes up, and baby does not meet mom as mom comes up. Mom's contraction goes up, it is on its way down, and let's say baby is way over here, and now baby is going down and then coming back up, but baby has passed mom's contraction. These can be problematic. These could be signs of what we call deceleration patterns. So we want to make sure when we are looking at these cases and we are analyzing these types of things, this is why mom's contraction patterns can be extremely helpful, and they can be powerful in putting the pieces back together to try to help us understand what was going on during labor and delivery. Was baby meeting mom's contraction, or was baby behind? Baby was not meeting up with mom, causing other types of issues in the electronic fetal heart readings. So I know I talked about a lot in this video, and this was a little bit more technical than what I generally talk about, but I'm trying to help you understand in really basic terms why these contraction patterns are so important and why doctors and nurses are paying attention to what's happening with mom. Too many contractions over a given amount of time, a specific amount of time. Now we've got tachycystole, that's mom, and then mom not having a lot of time to recover and breathe. Baby is in the same boat, having a hard time because the contractions are coming too fast. Baby isn't having a time to be able to get themselves together. And then you can also have the situation where I said, where you can have deceleration patterns, you can have mom and baby not meeting up on the contractions, and all of these things can lead to problems if they are not remedied. If you have more questions, maybe you're watching this video today because your baby has suffered a traumatic brain injury at birth like HIE. You have questions as to what caused it. Were the doctors and the nurses, were they not paying attention, for example, to your contraction patterns? Were you having too many contraction patterns? Was you going through tachycystole and nothing was being done to correct that issue? Maybe there were deceleration or prolonged deceleration patterns on the electronic fetal heart monitor, showing that the baby was in a bad space and nothing was being done on baby's end to help the baby out. Fetal reserves were depleted. If you're having all of these things going on and you have questions, there's a telephone number down below. I invite you to go ahead and pick up the phone and call me. I speak with families like yours all the time about these types of issues. Today we talked about contraction patterns, late decelerations, prolonged deceleration, tachycystole. We talked about all of these things today, but there's also other issues like bradycardia, tachycardia, minimal variability, all of these things. If you've got this going on, like I said, go ahead and pick up the phone and call us. It costs absolutely nothing to talk with me or my partner Renee about these types of issues and what you have going on with your baby. One more thing before I get out of here. I practice law here in the state of Maryland. And I know this video is online and I can't control who's watching. If you contact me and you are not in Maryland, just understand that we have to use what we call co-counsel or local counsel. In other words, an attorney in your state. That's something that we can help work with you on, but I just want to make sure that you understand that co-counsel or that local counsel aspect of things if you are not here in the state of Maryland. All right, that's going to be it for today's quick educational video. Again, I'm Marcus Boston. I'm one of the childbirth injury and medical malpractice attorneys practicing law here in the state of Maryland at Boston Law Group, LLC. We'll talk with you next time. Take care. Enjoy the rest of your day.